Hey, what's up you guys? It is Tyler, and this video is going to be fun. So this is a video response to Dan Brown's last few videos, which have been a conversation regarding trans topics. So I am joining the conversation and giving my response. So the original video, it was posted about a week ago, and it featured Ariel. I don't know her last name. She's the lesbian on YouTube. Just search in the word lesbian on YouTube and all of her videos will come up. So she was with Dan, and the title of the video was Trans Etiquette or Trans Dating or something like that. So they both go into it and they both have a topic or an issue regarding trans people that they want to talk about and explore some more. Dan talks about an email he got where someone was questioning if it's actually necessary for trans people to state their pronouns when introducing themselves. So my thoughts on that are yes, it is necessary, because some trans people, either by choice or by lack of resources, do not pass. So in those cases, it's definitely necessary to clarify what pronouns they prefer to have used. Also, agender people have their own set of pronouns and all this stuff, so it is pretty necessary to tell people how to talk to you and what to call you by, unless you want to sit there and get called the wrong shit all day, like. So that's my thoughts on that, and then they went on to talk about Ariel's topic, and she is wondering why trans people expect the LGBT community to be more accepting of them when it comes to dating. If I had to break it down, it would go something along the lines of, like, I'm a lesbian and I think that, like, I should be able to reject trans women simply because they're trans, because trans women aren't like other women and like they can't bear children, and I like 100% always for sure would never date a trans woman if she's pre-op, and that's okay.
I know I wouldn't. I'm like, and that's okay. Like, I know personally, pre-op, 100% no. Post-op and hormones, probably.
Okay.
Probably. Trans women aren't the same type. They're not the same type of woman as other women are.
Right.
They can't bear a child.
So I think the topic was supposed to be about trans people being more offended by people in the LGBT community, rejecting them because of them being trans, rather than being rejected by cisgender people. But lo and behold, this actually became a conversation about whether or not they would date trans people. Not to be bitter, I love Dan Brown, and I don't think he was the issue in this video, but I think that he kind of contributed to the frustration of trans people just by them going back and forth, just objectifying and sexualizing trans people and thinking about trans people only in terms of themselves and whether or not they would date them. It's just not something you should probably do if you want your video series to be about trans issues and trans topics, and I think that they heard about that in the comments a little bit from what I saw. Just to clarify, I really like Dan. I've watched his videos for a long time, I really respect him, and I like that he came into the video from a position of wanting to learn more and actually have a real conversation, but I think that maybe he chose someone who liked to act like they knew what they were talking about, but really was just full of opinions, and probably could have learned more from someone who is actually trans, rather than her. Now here's the part where I talk about myself and my experience. Now I do make FTM related YouTube videos. I talk very much about my transness and being a trans guy, and I have recently gotten to the point where I'm absolutely fed up with the fact that 90% of my comments are cisgender people telling me whether or not they would date me. Now some of these comments are understandable, like on videos where I'm talking about dating my girlfriend and she's talking about dating a trans guy, but I am getting these comments not just on those videos, but on any video that I post. Like, never in a video have I asked the question, would you date me or would you date a trans person, yet on every single video there is quite a few comments answering that question. That's a little bit frustrating since all of my videos do have a topic, and a topic that I have found important enough to make a video about, and when that's completely overlooked and all that's thought of was whether or not I would be okay to date, it gets a little frustrating after a while. Now I understand that most people know their preferences and what they want in a sexual or romantic partner, and then when they see trans people sort of blurring those lines a little bit, it makes sense for them to be curious and wonder just how much those lines can be blurred for them before they're not comfortable with it anymore. But that's something that maybe you can think about but not necessarily broadcast and aim at the entire trans community. First of all, blanket statements about trans people are really degrading and kind of ignorant by nature. Any blanket statement you make about a group of people is not necessarily going to be accurate because people are people. And then, of course, also saying, hey, listen, you people, So I sat down and I thought about it, and I've decided that I would probably date, one of you freak shows if you had this and this and this, and you acted this way and you look like this. Even though you have this, I could probably deal with it. Like, it's just not something that you say to someone. I wouldn't be making videos like, no, I'm not usually attracted to white girls, but I'd probably date a white girl if she had a black girl booty. Like, that would never come out of my mouth, especially not on YouTube, because it's just wrong, Sorry that I'm clearly bitter about this. I just had to say something because I was bothered. But then in one of Dan's next videos, a trans person named Kata, I believe. I can't remember because I watched it earlier, but I think it was Kata. In their video response to Dan's initial video, they were talking pretty much about the same thing that I'm talking about, but in a much nicer way, saying that cisgender people throwing around these would I evers is hurtful to trans people because it makes them think that they're not deserving of love and makes them not want to come out, and how Leila Alcorn even talked about that in her suicide letter. And I think that is very true. We are already on the edge of society, very, very pushed away and not talked about until recently, but now trans youth coming of age and stuff, worrying about dating and wanting to have friends and romantic partners and stuff, that is definitely an issue for them. And so having all these people saying, oh god, never, because they're just not what I want, and this is this and they're this way, and it's not helpful, and I really agreed with that. But also I'd like to just say that for me, I've never really been the type of person to do anything for other people's approval or because that's what people want or that's what people like. And it seems that the whole transition thing, people have it confused where like, I'm transitioning because I want girls to like me because I wasn't getting girls as a lesbian, so now I have to try to be a guy. But really that's not the case. So it was never about wanting people to date me, and my transness has nothing to do with, who's going to date me and who's not going to. It's really just a matter of meeting people, getting along with them, and if they see body parts as more important than someone's personality or the fact that they are a person with their thoughts and their feelings and shared interests and stuff, then that's them. Just to wrap up this video, I want to say that if we think of trans people more as people and less of mixed match body parts and gender roles, we could probably have a conversation about trans people that was less of a slumber party-esque would you ever, and more of this is a real issue that trans people face, or how should we do this, or how do you feel about this actual thing that's important in the lives of trans people and also cisgender people who want to understand trans people. But no, I think it was really cool of Dan to do this and to have this conversation and to even be bringing trans issues onto his channel, and I think that he should do it again, maybe in a little different way. But yeah, that's my thoughts and that's my videos. Really no hate towards Dan. Just what was said in the video did get to me a little bit, but I'm not that bitter about it. Hopefully I said something that helped. Maybe I contributed, maybe I didn't. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and by the way, my name is Tyler. He, his pronouns. But in conclusion, Ariel, I am very sorry that it is such an inconvenience that trans girls expected to be treated like any other girl when clearly to you they are not, because they can't bear children, which makes sense for you to be concerned about. But trans people are people too, and maybe, with your ignorance and unnecessary opinions, you just keep that to yourself. Dan, you keep doing you. Next time you want to learn about something, find a more credible source.